On this day, we honor mothers because it does us good to think about how much our moms have done for us or continue to do for us. Moms sacrifice. By the time a child reaches 18, a mother has handled some 18,000 hours of child-generated work. In fact, women who never have had children enjoy the equivalent of extra time of 3 months extra a year in leisure time. However, when we think of motherhood, we often associate it with a cute, cuddly newborn baby or a sweet, tiny toddler. Now, I'm the first to admit that babies and toddlers are adorable. And from a mom's perspective, words fail to describe the feeling of embracing that newly born baby, or the pride they feel when their toddler takes that first step, or that feeling of embracing unspoken love that you get from a full body hug. But enough about the bright side. Let's face it, motherhood is not a walk in the park. We do moms and motherhood a disservice if we only gush about the countless truly terrific aspects of bearing and raising a child, and neglect to mention the, harsher realities. Think about it. From the day of conception, this baby has brought you pain. He's made you break out in pimples and waddle like a duck. Because of him, you've craved sardines and crackers, threw up in the morning. He kicked you in the stomach. He occupied a space that wasn't his for 9 months and ate food he didn't fix. You kept him warm. You kept him safe. You kept him fed. But did he say thank you? Are you kidding? The baby didn't even tell you she was coming. She just came. And what a coming. She rendered you a barbarian. You screamed. You swore. You bit bullets and tore the sheets. And now look at you. Your back ached. Your head pounded. Your body was drenched in sweat. Every muscle was strained and stretched. And that child was no more out of your womb than she started to cry. The room is too cold. The blanket, it's too rough. The nurse is too mean. And who does the baby want? Mom, of course. Why can't Dad take over? But no, Dad won't do. She wants Mom. I mean, who's been doing all this work for the last 9 months? You should be angry. But you're far from it. On your face radiates that longer than forever love. Your baby has done nothing for you, yet you unconditionally love him. And you just met him. He's brought pain to your body and nausea to your mornings, yet you treasure him. His face is wrinkled and his eyes are dim, yet all you can talk about are his good looks and his bright future. He's going to wake you up every night for the next 6 weeks, but that doesn't matter. I can see it on your face. I saw that look on my wife's face. You're crazy about him. Dirty diapers, running noses, and late night upchucks. And that's just the first several months of your new child's life. As the years add up, it seems motherhood only gets more intense from here. I won't even mention the adolescent years. That's a whole different ballgame and material for another message. Most of you are familiar with the Calvin and Hobbes comic strips. Well, on this particular Mother's Day, Calvin is pictured standing by his mother's bed. He wakes his mom up and tells her he's made her a Mother's Day card. "My, how sweet of you," she says. He proudly boasts, "I did it all by myself. Go ahead and read it." She begins to read. "I was going to buy a card with hearts of pink and red, but then I thought I'd rather spend the money on me instead. It's awfully hard to buy things when one allowance is so small. So I guess you're pretty lucky you got anything at all. Happy Mother's Day. Now I've said it. Now I'm done. So how about getting out of bed and fixing breakfast for your son? Signed, Calvin. I'm deeply moved, said his mother. Calvin replies, did you notice the part about my allowance? Sounds too familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure every one of you moms have experienced this unappreciated feeling at one time or another. Motherhood is a thankless job sometimes. When is this child going to say, thank you, Mom, for all the good stuff that you do? Yes, mothering may be the best job in the world, but it's also the hardest. And thus it brings with it trials and tribulation, tears and tantrums, all of which are the stuff of great comedy. Mothers sometimes ask, why me? And get their answer when a little voice says, because I love you best. Mothers know that a child's growth is not measured by height or years or grade. It's marked by a progression from mama to mom to mother. That's one reason why mothers are very special people and deserve our respect and thanks every day. Yes, mothers are an integral part of our lives. We wouldn't be who we are today without our mothers. But as hard as that may be, we need to realize that the difficulties of motherhood are not unique to our time. In every age, motherhood has had its share of difficulties. Some of the greatest people in history will tell you how important their mother were to them. George Washington, for example, said, all I am, I owe to my mother. And the Bible reveals several mothers in both the Old and the New Testament from which we can learn from. And each story teaches us critical life lessons, not unlike what our actual mothers tried to do for us. Allow me to highlight just a few. Sarah was a childless woman who was married to Abraham when the Lord promised them children. They waited 15 years before God's promise was renewed, and another 10 before it was fulfilled. Initially, Sarah had doubted God. She even laughed at his promise. Regardless, God moves whether we have faith or not. He knew Sarah's heart, and he delivered to her a son, whom she named Isaac. How many of us have had patient moms? How many times did we push that patience to a maximum? Mothers are amazing, and Sarah is a testament to how patient mothers can be. Rebecca was a faithful woman who obeyed God by marrying Abraham's son Isaac. And when she became pregnant, she could feel the twins fighting inside her womb. And when she asked God why, he told her that the eldest would live to serve the youngest. Well, back in those days, that was a shock because the eldest male was the one who was to be honored. And when the time came for her eldest son to be blessed, Rebecca pulled the old switcheroo. She brought the youngest, Jacob, to receive the blessing. Though she deceived both her husband and her eldest son, Rebecca did as God called her to do, and God kept his promise to bless Jacob. Sometimes mothers need to make difficult decisions, and we don't understand why. Like Rebecca, our mothers did what they believed was best for us and stopped at nothing to ensure that we only experienced the best that she could provide. In the New Testament, Elizabeth was married to the priest Zachariah, and though they were both faithful to the Lord, they could not conceive. They were already elderly when the archangel Gabriel spoke to Zachariah to explain that Elizabeth was going to bear a son. Elizabeth was ecstatic, and she soon conceived. When the baby was born, they named him John, who later became known as John the Baptist. Mothers are trusting, even when everyone else doesn't believe. It is this faith and trust in God that gives mothers hope for their children's future. Then there's Mary. Mary must have been the ultimate mom. She was chosen from the world's women and was blessed with the child Jesus, who would grow up to save all humanity from sin. But she became pregnant before her marriage to Joseph. And in those days, Mary would have been stoned to death for not saving herself for marriage. But Joseph was kind after he was visited by the angel who revealed God's plan for Mary. Not only was Mary the mother of God, but she also paid an extremely high price for motherhood. She witnessed her son being mocked, beaten, murdered before her very eyes, and she was powerless to stop it. Her innocent son died a sinner's death. Mary is perhaps the ultimate example of motherly love, faith, endurance, and humility. The thing that each of these mothers has in common is their strength, faith in the Lord, and love of their children. Moms of all ages love their children because they are part of them, their blood, their flesh, their sinew and spine, their hope, their legacy. We need to thank God for our mothers, not just today, but every day of our lives. And Mother's Day is the best time to say in words and prayers how much you love and care for your mom. For your mom was brave enough to give you birth, loved you through many growing up years, taught you about God and love and being good, and more often than not, got no thanks. Your mom's ears could hear the slightest cry. Her eyes didn't miss much either. Her hands held you and bathed you and picked you up. You often broke Mom's heart, but she always forgave and forgot. She encouraged you when things went bad, always had time to listen, worked so hard to make things go, and who, in her own special way, tried to make the world so much better by raising you the best way that she could. So today, let's celebrate our mothers who are with us, but also take time to remember our mothers and grandmothers who only dwell in our hearts. Mothers are the sweetest gift to us from God. There is no way you can ever really thank your mother for what she has done for you or continues to do for you today. Nevertheless, you must make it a habit to keep reminding yourself of the various sacrifices she made while raising you. She was designed by God to nurture. God gave her to you for a reason. And the love your mom has for you is only a small taste of the love that God has for you. That's because when God looks at you, he sees his finest creation through your mother. Happy Mother's Day. Amen.